This is what everyone's talking about.
Everything's on the table.
This is what champions come to take. This is what everyone came to see.
And the slam!
No do-overs. No second chances. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This is winner take all. The NBA Finals continue on ABC and the ESPN app.
LinkedIn's AI-powered job search can help you find the most relevant roles based on your goals and experience. It cannot help you find something to talk about in the elevator.
So, ride any dragons this weekend?
It can help you find your next job just by describing it in your own words. It cannot stop your coworker from describing their dreams.
So I was flying, right?
And while we can't help you advance in the office foosball tournament, LinkedIn can help you advance in your career. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Comcast is delivering extraordinary experiences in live sports. Through the incredible broadcast and storytelling from NBC, innovative and personalized viewing features on Xfinity and Peacock, and the country's most reliable Wi-Fi, viewers can enjoy every game-changing play faster and more seamlessly than ever. All on a network built to deliver unforgettable moments as close to live as possible. The ultimate experience for the American sports fan. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/sports.
Are the Bears finally giving up on Illinois?
This is still a come get me. This is that relationship where the dude ain't acting right. The girl going on dates. She taking pictures on social media. But she wants that one dude, Illinois. She still wants that one dude to get his act together and come get her. Get on that white horse and come give her what she wants. I think this is the thing where her friends are cheering her on. F 'em, girl. You don't need them. Get your piece. Glow up. Indiana may be boring, may be unattractive, but he's a simp for you. You know, Indiana's a simp. So the girls always cheer for the simps, but the Bears know they want to be with Illinois. All Illinois got to do is put some effort together. You know, get the Bears some flowers. Tell her she's pretty. You know, stop hiding her on social media. make a post about her and commit to her. That's all. She'll come back because she don't want Indiana. Nobody wants Indiana. I don't think Indiana people want Indiana. They settle for it, or they're born into it. It's like Bane and Batman. Nobody wants to be in that dark hole of Indiana.
Yeah, we yelling at the screen every Sunday night. Talk, sleep, throw the remote. We just want it right. Front office tripping, man, they can't get it right. Whole city heated, but we still gon' fight. We talking Bulls trade, Biz draft, missed call, pull slump, soft rebuild. We seen it all. Yeah, we loud, yeah, we gritty. I'm a little frustrated, but I still love my city. Yeah, north side, south side, west, we united.
It's June 6th, 6/6/26. We got a lot to break down today. It's graduation season all over the city. Congrats to all the new graduates out there. Get ready to start paying bills and taxes. We need that. Bears need it too. What else happened all over the city? Oh, there was that car on 290 that was holding up traffic for like 10 hours. You get caught in that?
No. What happened on 290?
It was some couple of people was unalived in a car that was just on the E-way, and they brought the bomb squad out.
Rest in peace to that family. God bless them. And God bless America. God bless America. You know what's coming up this summer?
The Independence Day? That's in a couple of weeks.
America's birthday.
I'm not from America. I'm from the United States of Chicago. I don't know anything about that.
You're one of those indigenous Hebrew Israelite Moors?
I'm from Chicago.
Do you identify as a native indigenous Hebrew Israelite Moor?
I identify as a Southsider.
Okay.
We got to talk about football, Q. Because the Cubs was down 2 touchdowns yesterday. Jay-Z, he had a new freestyle. I think it's overhyped, but that's just me. But the biggest news, we got to start right here, Q. NBA Finals. Knicks up 2-0. How you feel about that?
I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. I'm really about to watch the Knicks win an NBA Finals before Bears got to get going. Bears got to get going. One thing we can always count on in our lifetime is the Knicks going to the playoffs and having a meltdown. I saw the Knicks go up 2-0 in my lifetime. And do you know what happened?
93, I remember.
Gentleman's sweep.
That's not a gentleman's sweep.
I mean, when you win 4 straight.
Yeah.
Or do you consider the gentleman's sweep when you let a team
Winning 5.
Yeah, okay, but I consider when you win 4 straight, gentleman's sweep. That was Charles Smith under the basket, looking extremely frustrated. Was he fouled? He fouled?
Scottie Pippen locked him up. Clutch defensive moment for Scottie Pippen.
Man, I was looking at it live, and I was waiting for the whistle to blow. I don't see how he got his hands in there so clean each time. Like Charles Smith looked like he was ready to go up 3-4 times, and Pippen just kept
Pippen and Horace Grant was beating his shit like 6-7 times. He had a bunch of opportunities. Clapped his shit.
Pause. No pause. No pause.
Nah, no pause.
It's June.
Bing
June.
bong.
That's another thing going on in the city. Payday wants to wish you all a happy Pride Month. He wants to see you all flourish and thrive. And you know what? So do I. Because you know what?
That's right.
This is a very inclusive show. We accept all people from all backgrounds.
You're right, Q. Happy birthday, gays. Man. So I know you was one of them Wemby people. You probably are feeling a little anxious that you probably have to admit that you was wrong on them Spurs whooping the Knicks ass. But
I definitely thought the Spurs would beat the Knicks. And it wasn't necessarily Wemby. I think the Wemby hype is a little soon. Yeah, it's soon because how old is he? 23?
22.
Everybody take their lumps in the NBA. That's just the way it is. It's a rite of passage. It's almost like a fraternity. You get hazed. Michael Jordan got knocked on his ass. LeBron got knocked on his ass. That's what happened. You get humbled in the NBA. I was surprised they made it past OKC, but I guess no Williams. But this was the
AJ.
Yeah, this is the Knicks, though. I mean, no disrespect to my New York listeners, but the Knicks are known for not getting it done.
True.
And I'm not going to crown the Knicks yet, like Denny Green said, God rest his soul. But you get the first 2 on the road, even the Knicks can't blow this one, right?
No,
if
they can't.
If they do blow this, would this be one of the worst? This would be the worst meltdown in finals history, right?
Ooh. What would be a bigger meltdown? The Knicks in the finals or how New York will be on fire if the Knicks blow this?
Listen, they're gonna have to call the National Guard and what's the new mayor of NYC? What's his name? Madani. All the socialism and philanthropy work is not going to work because they're gonna tear them bodegas up. Nas might not drop another mixtape or another. It's gonna be bad. Queensbridge and Brooklyn might start beefing again.
There won't be a chopped cheese in sight.
Not a chopped cheese in sight.
All the Tims is getting put in action that day. Bacon, egg, and cheese is going on.
The Tims are going to be hanging from the phone wires.
Hell yeah. You talking about calling the National Guard. You're going to call in everybody from the Strait of Hormuz. Hey, come back. New York is on fire. You know, I was calling the Knicks to win this series early. But
you did.
I had no idea the Knicks was going to be up 2-0 going into Madison Square Garden. So if they do blow this, you know who I'm going to blame? I'm going to blame the special guest of Game 3. We don't have to say his name, but we know who that special guest is. The guy who's always got to put his nose in the business that does not belong.
No, say his name.
All right. President DJT.
He's a native New Yorker.
He is a native New Yorker. He was in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't like Home Alone 2 as much.
Nah, I didn't either. Not enough Chicago. Not enough Illinois.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Too much Central Park. And that pigeon lady. She was cool, but I ain't get it. I didn't get the point. But anyway, buy or sell. 3 minutes of straight booze when they announced that Trump is in the building.
I think New York is going to be in such a good mood. He's not going to get 3 minutes of booze. I think it might be there's going to be some booze mixed in with some cheering. New Yorkers are giddy right now. I don't know if anything will ruin their mood. Iran and China could drop a nuclear bomb on the rest of the United States, and as long as New York remained intact, New Yorkers are happy if the Knicks win. They wouldn't care about the rest of the country. That's what state they're in now.
I feel like the way New York puts on for the Knicks is the same way Chicago puts on for the Bears. You know, the city loves all the teams, but it's that one team.
It's that one team.
That's It's over everybody. I don't remember when the Giants and the Jets left New York and went to New Jersey. I don't remember how big of a deal it was.
I think that was
But I
before
know
you were alive, so you wouldn't remember that.
Exactly. I have no recollection. I don't even know when it happened. I never even looked it up. But I know for a goddamn sure, if the Knicks talked about leaving MSG and going out of the city, they'll turn the city up.
They'll never be able to. They'll never leave Madison Square Garden. That's not happening.
So that brings me to the first topic of this show. Like how you might have to admit you was wrong about the Spurs. I might have to admit I was wrong about the Bears not leaving Illinois. I was loud about that shit, Q. I was loud about that shit. And what we got on Friday was another development in that story. Did you see Kevin Warren's statement
about moving forward with a site in Indiana?
That's correct. Statement from Chicago Bears chairman George McCaskey and president and CEO Kevin Warren. Yesterday, the Chicago Bears board of directors met and voted to advance our stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana, with the exact site to be selected. We believe a world-class stadium project in Hammond will transform the region, connecting Northwest Indiana to the south side of Chicago, through the loop and across neighborhoods and suburbs stretching north of the city. It will bring Chicagoland together and deliver new opportunities to its residents and businesses, period. The Chicago Bears. Q, are the Bears finally giving up on Illinois?
This is still a come get me. This is that relationship where the dude ain't acting right. The girl going on dates. She taking pictures on social media. But she wants that one dude, Illinois. She still wants that one dude to get his act together and come get her. Get on that white horse and come give her what she wants. I think this is the thing where her friends are cheering her on. F them, girl. You don't need them. Get your piece. Glow up. Indiana may be boring, may be unattractive, but he's a simp for you. You know, Indiana's a simp. So the girls always cheer for the simps. But the Bears know they want to be with Illinois. All Illinois got to do is put some effort together. You know, get the Bears some flowers. Tell her she's pretty. You know, stop hiding her on social media. Make a post about her and commit to her. That's all. She'll come back because she don't want Indiana. Nobody wants Indiana. I don't think Indiana people want Indiana. They settle for it or they're born into it. It's like Bane and Batman. Nobody wants to be in that dark hole of Indiana.
Dude, man, all this shit is everybody's playing. Everybody's fucking around and playing games. Illinois is playing games. Chicago's playing games. The Bears are playing games, and this was their move after Illinois and Chicago was dunking on them and pulling their card basically all week. Going in the media, having interviews talking about, man, the Bears have been fucking around playing with us all this whole time. It's been frustrating, as some lawmakers were saying. It's only person in all of this that's serious about it is Indiana. You bring up a good point. They feel as is really invested. Everybody else is just, you know, playing around. They on Hinge, but they ain't really invested on swiping right. They just bored. But Indiana, they feelings is involved. Because who really believes Indiana got $1 billion to get the Bears? Who really believes that? If you really believe that, you have never been to Indiana. You have never been in Northwest Indiana if you really believe they got $1 billion to get the Bears and to build a stadium and to do all the tests that you necessarily need over there in that Hammond area. You've seen the pictures. You've heard the stories. The slag heap where the old BP oil refinery was, all the old steel mills and all that, all the nasty toxic shit that's all over there. Everything that I read in that statement, none of it made me believe that, okay, it's a done deal. I know it's a big scare tactic. Nothing changed.
I got to ask you a question. Now, imagine you being less fortunate and unfortunately being born in Gary and living in Gary to this day. And you hear your state has $1 billion. And you like, where is this $1 billion for my city? How would you, have you been to Gary? Have you been to East Chicago?
Unfortunately.
I know people in East Chicago and Gary got to be $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, them people are living in like teepees and mud huts. I mean, they're living. Do they got indoor plumbing in Gary?
Gary has to come up a little bit. So the Gary that we know, that from all our lives, Gary has been to quote
I've seen
Trump.
That small piece of Gary that is nice, and
yeah, they doing it. They trying to come up. They trying to become a tech center. They trying to entice businesses, tech businesses.
I've only seen one type of tech in Gary.
Gary's not as dusty as it used to be. It's still dusty. It's still, I would never, like to your point, I would never like loudly, you know how we get on people for claiming Chicago, they're not from Chicago. If I was from Gary, I would tell people I'm from Chicago.
I would tell people if I was from Gary, I would tell people I'm from Harvey.
That
sounds better than
if you
last time
are
Gary
from
been good was with the Jackson 5 over there. Did you see Michael?
And to that point, Q, on the last episode, I said if you saw the Michael Jackson movie, in the beginning of the movie, Joe was telling his wife, he's like, hey man, I'm trying to get my family out of Gary. In the 60s. He was trying to get out of Gary.
And the Bears trying to get in there?
Come on, man. Cap, bro. Come on. Like play with people that's never been to Hammond, never been to Gary. No disrespect to either one of those.
Green Bay?
Yes. Why would you leave the skyline in your backdrop of your stadium to put that in the backdrop of your stadium?
You can literally smell when you get to Hammond.
Yes, you can. It's a whole landfill right there. Driving down the Bishop Ford is terrible. As soon as you get towards the Indiana border, I'm like, nah, bro. You can lie to some people. You can't lie to me like this, G. I know what this is. Again, Chicago, Illinois. They pulled your card. They made you look like a fool. They said you is bluffing. You're not really serious about Indiana. So you had to play something. You had to do something. And Kevin Warren, he won't get in front of no cameras, get in front of no media, none this week. He won't answer no questions why he been lying this whole time, talking about Hammond and Arlington Heights were the only two sites. And when in actuality, he been talking to Chicago this whole time. Brandon Johnson put him on blast. In every interview.
Been in the city's DMs.
Exactly.
DMs.
See, Q, if somebody in your DMs and you don't really talk to them, you block them or you don't talk to them, right? But you respond to them, they going to keep coming back. So that you entertaining them, it's real. It's something real. You may not actually act on it, but it's real because you entertaining it. The Bears is entertaining Chicago, whether they ultimately do something with Chicago or not. They entertaining them. So therefore, Arlington Heights got a right to be pissed off. Springfield got a right to be pissed off. Indiana got a right to be pissed off.
Indiana's too big of a simp to even care. That girl that fell asleep text you at 8 a.m, said, I fell asleep last night at 8 p.m. and you're still bringing her flowers and putting your mouth where you shouldn't because you don't know where she been last night. I mean, Indiana, you got to do better. Indiana, have some respect for yourself. Have some respect.
It's hard. Pull your skirt down, bro.
Just begging. You already got the coats. That's not good enough.
You got Caitlin Clark, bro.
You got Caitlin.
Worry about Caitlin Clark. Stop worrying about Chicago shit.
She's a national treasure.
Basically, what they always said in that statement is that they are going to finalize a location for the stadium wherever they decide to put it in Indiana. I don't care about none of that. They already own the spot up there, Arlington Heights. They got that spot right there. If they really wanted to, if they're really serious about moving forward and putting actual shows on the ground sometime soon, they can go ahead and do that in Arlington Heights. They own that property. They can drop a shovel at any point. The reason why they're not dropping a shovel, because the second they do start building on your property, you owe the property tax changes. And this is where the Bears effed up. The Bears effed up a lot in this process. Why would you not get that property tax certainty before you buy the land? Now, I'm not blaming Kevin Warren in that because he didn't have the job when the Bears bought that land. That's a Ted Phillips issue. That's a George McCaskey issue. But
they're not good at their jobs. I was listening to experts in that field discuss Ted Phillips and George McCaskey. They're not good at their jobs. Go ahead.
No, but to that point, George McCaskey's not a billionaire. I mean, he can hire Kevin Warren, which is a good hire. Kevin Warren has done this before. He's experienced. He should know what he's doing. He hasn't shown that he knows what he's doing, but he should know. Kevin Warren can hire the lobbyists to go do what they got to do in Springfield. All of that stuff can be taken care of. George McCaskey does not. He does not come from money in the same way the Waltons, the guys who own the Broncos, in the same way any of the other billionaire owners in the National Football League. He ain't got it like that to be paying $50 million a year in property taxes. He needs that certainty. He's got to get that. So his back is against the wall. But at the same time, he don't really understand what palms need to be greased and I don't want to say this in a pejorative because I don't know what he knows or what he don't know. But he might be, based on everything we've seen over the last 2 years, he might be swimming in waters that's too deep. Kevin Warren, he might have miscalculated the actual political climate in Illinois because he is getting outfoxed. And the longer this goes on, the more it looks like it is what we said from the jump, that they're not leaving Chicago. They just playing around. And you playing around and you only making yourself look as stupid as you did a year ago at this time when a certain book came out and it made everyone look into the Bears business and say, hey, the Bears are a dysfunctional organization. Because look at how Caleb Williams did not want to be there. Look at how they treated Caleb Williams in his rookie year. So we are a year removed from that. And now we just all on front page news of NFL Times once again looking dysfunctional. Looking like we have got no idea what's going on.
Just was listening to 104.3, and you're spot on about George not being in over his head. Because they were like, the whole process was just backwards from the way you purchase Arlington Heights to when you go and do something like this and you're going to need public funded money, you're going to need to get lobbyists on your side. And the Bears didn't do any of that. I was just listening to the whole breakdown of it, and it was just, it's poor negotiating by the Bears, poor preparation, poor understanding of the political climate. It's just almost embarrassing that this organization almost ran like a mom and pop store, a mom and pop corner store. They don't understand big business. And now I see throughout the years why things continue to happen to the Bears. I mean, the dysfunction obviously spilled into the front office in terms of personnel department, but you understand why they had to get Ted Phillips out of there, how unorganized Ted Phillips was. The Bears with this stadium thing, this has been going on for years. I mean, it's just sad that these people are not educated in business and politics, and yet are in a business that is about business and politics.
Q, if Kevin Warren actually knew Illinois, if he actually understood Chicago the way he thinks he does, he'd have understood that proper preparation prevents
poor performance.
That's all it takes, bro. That's all it takes. You got to know. If you don't know that, you don't know Chicago. You ain't going to succeed in Chicago if you don't understand the 5 Ps, bro. But to wrap all this up, even though I think all of this is just much to do about nothing, it's just the latest move in they chess game that they're playing. Chicago versus Chicago Bears versus Illinois, and Indiana on the side in the cut chair. Even though I think all of this is just another move, it still pisses me off because once again, another year we got to talk about something that's off the field instead of something that's on the field. We just wrapped up 2 weeks of OTAs. I want to talk about that. Caleb Williams is on the Madden cover. I want to talk about that. We're talking about some stuff. We're talking about politics. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about a book. I don't want to talk about people putting their nose in Chicago Bears business, calling Chicago Bears dysfunctional, a poorly ran franchise. I don't want to hear none of that. Listen, I need Kevin Warren. I need George McCaskey. I need Mayor Johnson. I need them all to get on a phone call, 3-way that hoe. I don't care if it's got to be Skype. I don't care if it's got to be a Zoom call. Fuck it. It could be a Nextel chirp conversation. I don't care. They need to get on the phone and figure this thing out because I'm tired of talking about this goofy shit. In fact, I'm going to be so mad, Q, if they mess around and move to Indiana and then I got some Portage bozo come talk to me about, hey, bro, why our team lose on Sunday? I'm going to crash the fuck out. I'm going to be locked up in Lake County. You're going to have to come get me out of Lake County prison because I'm locked up there because I'm a crash. I'm like, there's no way that's your team.
Bond? Do they got no cash bond in Indiana too, like in Illinois?
I don't think they do. I know they don't have an I bond. Don't ask me how I know. But I'm gonna crash the fuck out. None of that should even be on the table to be a reality for the pride of Illinois, the Chicago Bears. It is not just Chicago's team. It is the
Illinois.
Pride of Illinois. Remember that. Everybody involved. Remember that. You cannot let that state over there, you cannot let them take the pride of Illinois. Get your shit together.
Indiana does not deserve 2 teams. I don't know if Indiana deserves 1 team. They definitely don't deserve 2 professional teams. I'm so tired of our little bitty half-step brother in 2026. We've had to watch Indiana win a national championship. That don't even sound right. That don't even sound right.
It don't do it. It sound Bodine as fuck. I'm tired of Indiana. I'm tired of Indiana. Get that shit out of here.
I feel like at this point, the way Indiana, and you hear the shots from the mayor and the Republican. And it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy because you would think the mayor and Republican of Indiana would be against each other. One is a Democrat, one is a Republican, but they're in unison. They're locked in. They are focused on Illinois. Indiana's
Mm-hmm.
becoming such major ops to us. I really feel like they should go get the Packers at this point. I really feel like the Packers.
Hey,
I feel like the Packers should be an Indiana team at this point. That's how much
I feel
Indiana
like
is
they
a
are
op
too.
right now.
Indiana, in fact, you know what? Indiana, you can go to Canada too. Wisconsin, go to Canada. Indiana, go to Canada. Not gonna miss you.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney Plus.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're gonna crack this case and prove we're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
You are Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream Team. Hit new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home.
You're clearly working it.
Zootopia 2, now available on Disney Plus, rated PG.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
The Chicago Bears voluntary organized team activities for the 2026 offseason just concluded, Q, this past week. For those that don't understand, organized team activities or OTAs, the Bears had two of them, two sessions, May 27th through the 29th and June 2nd through the 4th. For those sessions, it was pretty much strength training, rehab, on-the-field instruction, and all that stuff. Yeah, basically. Phase 2, you got what just happened in May. All the coaches were permitted to be on the field for individual drills and everything like that. And what we just did this past week, you was able to put on helmets. You had 7-on-7, you had 11-on-11, and you had drills. You can't do any live contact yet. That's not available. But those three phases are in the books now. What's coming up next? June 9th through the 11th, we have mandatory veteran minicamp, Q.
Turns up a little bit.
Yes, it does. We are now in the thick of it. We are now really going down the hill towards the season, down the hill towards the Bears winning the Super Bowl in the 2026 season. Q? Let's start with those rookies that you mentioned now. Before we even get to the vets, any rookies that stood out to you in rookie minicamp or in any of the voluntary portion of the OTAs?
Well, one rookie actually stood out. I saw a couple of plays being made, and I heard nothing but good things coming from the media about Xavier Thomas. Still a reach, but this is very encouraging. The speed definitely translated. I mean, he got behind Bears DBs plenty of times. The hand, he seems like a guy that naturally catches with his hands. This is early, but this does not seem like a Velus Jones type guy. This seems like a legit vertical threat that the Bears added to this offense, and he looks comfortable wide receiver. We never got to see Velus necessarily look comfortable. We saw him a couple times when the Bears ran jet sweeps, basically forcing the ball in his hands, and he just showed his athleticism. And then we saw him at wide receiver not ever look comfortable and drop some wide open passes. Davion Thomas looks to be exactly.
Are you sure he wasn't comfortable when he was putting the ball on the grass? Because he did it a lot.
Maybe he was comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with him putting the ball. I'll put it to you like this. Maybe Velus was comfortable out there. I wasn't comfortable watching him out there because it was always a disaster. From fumbling to dropping passes to probably not being where he needed to be, which is why he didn't get a lot of snaps. And the only snaps remember, they tried to force him at running back. He was so bad at receiver. They tried to force, here, dude, we'll just hand the ball off to you. But Xavier had a very good OTAs. Another rookie who's looking the part, Dylan Thieneman. I've heard good things about him. He did have one blown coverage, and he talked about that. He's playing a lot of positions. And Dennis Allen is using him in very versatile ways. He said that he's mostly lined up at the strong safety, which I found interesting. I thought it would be Kobe playing the strong safety the majority of the time, but it looks like Kobe's playing a little bit more of that free safety position, and Thieneman is playing strong safety, but Thieneman is also getting some looks at cornerback and sub packages. So Dennis Allen is obviously up to his tricks. He's doing exactly what we thought he would do with this secondary, where you were talking about having so many versatile guys, so many guys that can blitz, cover in man, play in cover three. So that was very exciting to see that Xavier Thomas, the guy we were all concerned about, looking good. Also heard the tight end room looks good, and that includes Sam Roche. I'm just excited to see how the Bears are going to handle all this talent, because there's only one football. At the end of the day, and that's my concern. There's only one football, and you got a lot of talented guys. We're not even talking about the running backs, DeAndre Swift and Kyle Manunga. So it's good to see the Bears have a lot of talented weapons at the skill position. I'm just excited to see how this is all going to play out and how Ben Johnson is going to employ all these guys.
You mentioned Xavier still being a reach. Now, for somebody I've played in fantasy football leagues with you for quite a long time. You love to reach.
I do.
If Xavier becomes I don't know, let's say he has a Luther Burton type of rookie of the year, rookie season. Is he still a reach?
All will be forgiven, but yes, he'll still be a reach, because I feel like maybe you could have still. Now the thing you have to be careful with is, yes, you may have reached for Xavier Thomas, but there's no guarantee that somebody else behind you wouldn't have reached. I don't think anybody at that third round would have reached, but with the way this guy, with the speed he has, and I'm looking at the way the draft board was falling, because there was another guy who was really speedy and much less productive than Xavier Thomas. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but he ran incredibly fast, and he was reached for too. So Xavier, I know a lot of draft pundits said they were expecting him in the 6th round, 7th round. I know Bears fans, I don't think Xavier would have lasted that long. I don't think so. I think at best, Xavier would have went bottom of the 4th, top of the 5th. And if this guy ends up being the vertical threat they envision, or what he's shown in OTAs, all will be forgiven. Because if he can do what they think he can do in this offense, that is going to be a huge asset for the Bears. We see for the team in Detroit how Jameson Williams opens it up for that offense. How dangerous. And Jameson Williams, he's not quite as fast as Xavier, but he gives you that same vertical threat. I mean, with the way Luther Burden is developed, with Colston Loveland, how he attacks the seams, that makes the Bears offense a nightmare for defenses.
Not minor, but the one thing, to be noted, that the thing that makes me the most happy right now as we going into the mandatory part of the OTAs, Thieneman, Malik Muhammad, and Logan Jones, they're all under contract already. None of that rookie contract.
Nonsense.
I don't even call it nonsense. I don't want non-news interrupting what we got going on. I don't want that. I don't.
Still remember the Roschon
You remember? Yes, remember the Roschon thing.
Even the Caleb thing got a little sketchy in May, and June, when he was negotiating about how he wanted to get paid out and lots of little things with his branding. So that made me nervous. But yeah, you're right. That is the best news, that there's no news.
Exactly.
And everybody's healthy.
We got enough news that's not happening on the field. Sam Roush, he's the only notable rookie or draft pick that hasn't signed yet. But I assume that it'll get done sooner rather than later. What about vets, Q? What vets are standing out to you? For me right now, Luther Burton. I'm agreeing with our coach, Ben Johnson. Luther Burton. Buying that stock.
If you are in a fantasy draft
don't do too much, Q. Got to watch out.
Luther
Burton.
Listen, but Luther Burton, yeah.
I know. Last offseason, a year ago at this time, he was hurt. He didn't get to have a full ramp up to the season. He had to start off slow and, get his feet underneath him. You remember during training camp, Ben Johnson took him to task like, hey, man, you're behind. You need to catch up. You need to hurry up and catch up, too, because you are holding us back because you don't know where to line up and all this other stuff. Remember all that? Last year, you kept having the lining up issues between everybody on offense. That was a big thing. I hope that's not a big thing this year, because that would be interesting.
I think he's been running smooth this OTA.
Yes.
That's the other thing that's been noted. This is the best offense to look probably since we've been Bears fans. I mean, there's guys know where to line up, even the young guys. You're not seeing the pre-snap penalties. You're not seeing the mental mistakes. This could be a beautiful thing.
And to piggyback on what you said about Xavier, I like all the speedy depth this team has. Luther Burton coming in. If he continues to be healthy, him coming into the season, having a full off season to really get his feet underneath him, that's going to be scary. I cannot wait to be the boogeyman with that type of secret weapon. You got Luther Burden, Xavion, as you already mentioned. I don't expect a lot out of Xavion his rookie season, especially given the amount of depth in this wide receiver room. Ja'Day Walker coming back, Scotty Miller, another signing.
That's another one that's had a very good OTAs. And I can see Scotty Miller fitting in very well. He's a very dependable, reliable veteran. And he's a sneaky fast guy. Like he's very shifty in that slot. He has good hands. I think he'd be the better version of Zacchaeus. If you remember early in the season, Caleb was targeting Zacchaeus a lot. Now Zacchaeus kind of faded out. Injuries had something to do with it. He also had some critical drops. Zacchaeus had some bad drops on us. And just inconsistent play. And then Luther Burden kind of took his snaps once Luther Burden got. But Scotty Miller's another guy who's been quietly performing really well at these OTs.
The other wide receiver that I did not mention in that room, Rome Odunze.
I got to ask you this is the uncomfortable.
Go ahead. I mean, because he looked like he looks decent out there, but I think most people are talking about Rome for what he said, not for what he's doing.
Well, the great thing about Ben Johnson is he's very transparent, not only in his criticism, but when he's not speaking about you.
Facts.
And he has been he has heaped a lot of praise on Luther Burden. He's heaped a lot of praise on Colston Loveland, on Caleb Williams. We've heard a lot of talk about the excitement of Xavion. Is it concerning that Rome is not emerging as a number one and is kind of falling back as a depth piece in that receiver room?
I don't know if I want to say he's falling back as a depth piece.
He's a
I will
two,
say,
but I'm talking about as pass catchers. Right now, I would say Luther Burden and Colston Loveland are squarely 1 and 2. However you want to flip them.
Okay, I can go with that. For your question, is it concerning to me that he might not be
the
alpha in the room?
That Rome, as a top 10 pick, isn't your number one, or is it more exciting that you're getting the number one speculation from Luther Burden? Which one is higher on your list? The alarm of Rome Odunze or the excitement of Luther Burden?
The alarm was raised basically because, as you said, after doing this for a year, listening to Ben press conferences, what he doesn't say is just as much as what he does say. He did say he's buying stock on Luther Burden. He was really effusive in his praise on Luther Burden. He ain't been saying nothing like that for Rome. So with Rome being a top 10 pick, it is a little concerning. You saw that in this last year that he missed, 5 games with injury, even though he still led the team in targets, even though he is a favorite target of Caleb Williams. We know that easily already, right? But, I mean, you know who else is a favorite target of Caleb Williams? Ja'Day Walker. Obviously, Luther Burden is a favorite of Ben Johnson. So it's not that hard to see Rome Odunze being phased out into more of a role player, so to speak, in this offense. Even though I do think everybody's going to put role player numbers. I think there's only so much balls paused to go around.
Yeah.
No one's going to have a 1,300-yard season in this offense.
I just feel like there's too much. There's too many mouths to feed, and I don't think the Bears are going to feature a guy. I don't think you're going to have a target hog in this offense. You're not going to have a guy like Tyreek Hill in a couple years back in Kansas City and early in his Miami days where you're getting 150 targets a year. You're not going to have a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson where you're getting 170 targets. Even Drake London in Atlanta. I think he played 12 games and had 112 targets. I don't envision anybody getting close to, on a per game basis, 10 targets per game. Do you?
No, I really don't, to be honest with you. And a lot of that isn't because of performance. Again, I think it's because of the injury concerns. And I'm gonna just go ahead and segue to this. What he said at one of his press media availabilities raised a lot of eyebrows. Listen to this.
For me, I'm trying to be excellent in every single category of wide receiver, route running, releases, catching the football. There's areas of improvement in every single rep, out there that it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I want to do everything excellent. So I'm trying to improve on all those different factors all at once because I feel like I'm capable of doing that.
Any of those that you feel like you have been consistently good at? and any that have been consistently kind of problematic for you?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. I feel like, I've kind of been, obviously there's certain things that I feel like I do well, but to me, the art of wide receiver is the whole thing. You know what I mean? You can't be a good wide receiver that only runs good routes but doesn't catch the ball. You can't be a good wide receiver that doesn't run any good routes but also only catches the ball. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to have a plethora of all those different aspects to play football. Play the wide receiver position, and it encompasses it all as a whole.
And is it something that's will continually have to be monitored still?
I mean, I feel like if you break a bone, you always got to, make sure you're on top of it. I continue to do rehab on it, make sure I'm keeping it strong. And that's both whether it comes to, the different exercises that they give me in the rehab as well that I do off the field. But I feel like, yeah, you got to stay on top of it regardless of if it's 100 or not. I feel like it's hard to say it's like 100. I feel like when the Super Bowl and we win that and we raise that trophy, it'll be 100.
Yeah. What's the point where it felt normal to you to run on it?
Felt normal? Felt usual. This is my new normal. And it's not from a standpoint that I'm like always in pain, but the way my foot broke, there's a calluses in there that like creates, a different type of foot structure with those bones and different things. It kind of, shifts things around. So my new normal was kind of what I, am growing into. And I don't think that's anything that's going to prohibit me or keep me from making plays. But I feel like with the break, it's just like, when you tear your AC, it's never really back to normal. Shout out to Keenan with his, his little, you know what I'm saying? It's a little different, but we go on.
Did you ever need surgery?
Did I ever need surgery? It was a question. It was a question. I feel like the doctors advised that it was something that we can monitor, but they definitely felt like it was able to heal without surgery. So, that's kind of the process I went towards, just because, I don't like putting any metal or rods into my foot. So yeah, it was a question, but I feel like the process we went was adequate.
This summer, soccer is here, and so are the watch parties. And Uber Eats has your game day essentials covered with 30% off orders from Aldi, Kroger, and Dollar General. Everything you need to keep your crowd happy, delivered straight to your door. Chips, dips, fresh ingredients, and more. Order in so you can lock in for the games. 30% off your grocery order, only on Uber Eats for a limited time.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
First, I remember when I was a kid, Alonzo Spellman having a big rift with the Bears. I don't know if you remember Alonzo Spellman, but he had a shoulder injury and he wanted to rehab it, and he didn't want surgery because he said that surgery changes your body. I played football. I have had surgery. And yes, it was necessary for my knee because I had damaged my ACL and my PCL. But I get the hesitation of having surgery. Once you have surgery, that particular area is never the same. In fact, once you have any injury, like Rome alluded to, he said calluses, it's calcium buildup, especially with bones. Scar tissue with your tendons, with your ligaments, scar tissue builds up, calcium builds up. It is never the same. With that being said, it may never be the same, but you can still perform the same by strengthening the areas around it. It may never feel the same to you, but you can still get to. So I understand what Rome is saying. So that is a tough one for me to say from this perspective. All I can say is this: if it's June and that foot is still in the back of your mind, I lean towards maybe you should have had surgery.
Your body, your choice, right? If you don't want to have surgery, and I get it, I don't necessarily want to go underneath the knife either. But yeah, those type of decisions, they affect the livelihood, the length of your career. They affect what you're able to do going forward. And will you be able to be the number one receiver you was drafted to be going forward with a new foot? Honestly, I mean, because you got it to the top 10 with the body you had all this time. Now you got to be a different player. You're a whole different person now. One, it shines a little bit more light onto why he was struggling last season, and I don't know if I want to actually make the connection between his foot and his drops, but the amount of games he missed and the slow, I guess, build not build up, but the callus he had to get on his body to get back right. after he came back from the long time being out, it was a grind, and it sucks for him because he may never reach those heights that he was supposed to be. And to his credit, he's still out there grinding. He's still out there balling. He has looked good in OTAs to this point,
Yeah,
and I hope
he had a long highlight catch when Caleb Williams rolled out and did his signature kind of jump pass thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to pose this question to you. If Rome can't unseat Luther as the number one receiver, is this a disappointing draft pick?
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the business. If you drafted somebody in the second round who's going to actually lead your wide receiver room, when you have a top 10 wide receiver on your roster, it is what it is. I mean, the facts remain. It would be a underwhelming draft pick. Now, that doesn't mean that he still can't be productive. That doesn't mean he can't still be a viable piece to the offense. But like I said,
you draft a top 10. Let's not make no mistake about it.
Right.
When you draft a guy top 10, you honestly have to, for that to be a successful pick, that guy has to be a Pro Bowler and probably an All-Pro. You don't take guys top 10 to play a role on your team, correct?
No.
That's
correct.
You take those guys to be the cornerstones of whatever position group they're in. If you're taking a guy top 10 at corner, he should probably be your number one corner, unless you just got a wealth of talent. But if you got a wealth of talent, if you have another corner that's that good, you probably wouldn't be drafting in the top 10. If you're taking a wide receiver top 10, he's got to be your best receiver. And the concerning thing I have with Rome, even prior to the foot injury, when you look at Rome and you evaluate his tape, the thing that stood out to him when he was at Washington and coming into the NFL was a tremendous contested catch ability. That was the thing that kind of separated him. He had that contested catch ability like you would see with a Mike Evans, like you saw with guys like Chris Carter, the ability to catch in traffic. And to be fair, even before the foot injury, he wasn't winning those 50-50 balls. He hasn't been the vertical threat at any point of his career that he was at Washington. And that's not to say that, like you said, Rome still can't be a very productive player, because I think when we've seen Rome out on the field, he has been a productive player. But the thing that sticks out to me about the Bears' other weapons, when you see Colston Loveland, he looks different. He looks like a top 10 pick. He's 6'6". He's extremely athletic. He's a big unicorn at tight end. You get it. Luther Burden, while not a first-round pick, is something different about him when the ball is in his hands. He's a shifty, dynamic playmaker. You saw that in the San Francisco game. You saw that in a lot of games throughout the year, even though we were looking at a guy that was trying to understand and learn the NFL. Luther Burden stands out on the field with his explosion, with his shiftiness after the catch. Davion Thomas, while we have not seen him in an NFL game, we see the speed. We see what it's done to defenders on the Bears defense. Rome doesn't have one thing that really stands out about him. That's the other concerning thing. When you take a guy top 10, you want to take a guy that's kind of special athletically or something. You know what I mean? So where I stand with Rome, I absolutely believe that he can be a productive player, but I am absolutely alarmed that we took a guy top 10 that we shouldn't have, because you had Brock Bowers still there. You had Jared Verse still there. And Jared Verse was just used to pry Garrett Miles away. That is a very important detail.
Let's move on to another position group. Let's talk about the tight end skew. Now, you mentioned Sam Brosh. He's looked good, but I want to talk about Colston Loveland, the guy who led the team in reception yards. One word to describe how he's looked so far in OTAs.
Bigger, faster, and stronger.
That's 3 words.
Was that one word?
I've heard the big. He looked like he's put on weight, and he was already diesel last year. He was already like a BON last year. No emphasis on the end part, but he was
BOW a bow.
Yeah, bow. Let's call him a bow. Let's call him a bow. In fact,
a BOC, big old Caucasian, a bok.
Yeah,
he looks like a bok.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hey, and and for all you listeners, it's copyrighted. All you Caucasians out there that like to get wild, if you want to call yourself a bok, you got to shout us out.
That's right. He's looking bigger, like you said, alongside Cole Kmet and Sam Brosh. They all look good, man. So I'm going to ask you right now, tight end room or wide receiver room, which one would you, if you had to guess right now, you had to project long term all the way up into January, the first Sunday in January, which room is going to lead this team in offensive production, tight ends or wide receivers?
That's a dynamic question because I think with the way the NFL is, I think the leading receiver, and I'm not talking just the wide receiver position, I'm talking about tight end. I think it will emerge from the wide receiver room, and I think it will be Luther Burden. I think he's the guy most likely to be north of 80 catches and be north of 1,000 yards. But I think the strength will be the tight end room because the way Ben Johnson employs the tight ends, and let's talk about Cole Kmet because he didn't have the year he had prior, like under Justin Fields in terms of yards, receptions, touchdowns. But if you break down the tape, he was very instrumental in the run blocking game. And the one thing I like about Colson Loveland is this isn't just one of those tight ends who are, want to be in a 2-point stance and don't want to get his hands dirty, wants to look pretty and make catches. He's not out there with Taylor Swift in the booth and sitting down on 7-yard curl routes and just padding his stats. Colson Loveland will put hands on you. Sam Roush was one of the best blocking tight ends. Many people said he was the best blocking tight end in this draft class. So I think at the end of the day, yes, the receiver room might have more production in terms of yards and receptions, but I think the tight end room is a strength because they're going to do a lot of things that aren't going to show up in the stat book. You're going to have Colson Loveland and Cole Kmet laying belt to defenders, putting Packers on their backsides, putting Lions on their backside, driving Vikings linebackers into the second level. So I think you're going to see a lot of 13 personnel, and I think the tight end group is going to be the strength. They're going to be guys that are going to be accumulating red zone touches. Going to be guys paving the way for DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai when they get on those linebackers, when they get on those safeties. So I'm going with the tight end room as a strength and as the most productive room between them and the wide receiver group.
I like that answer. Because for two reasons. One, because I agree with you. I think the tight ends are going to be more hands dirty in more ways than one. Because one, you can do so much with 13 personnel. You can do so much even going jumbo. But also they're also going to be helped too. They're going to be used to help lay wood on people, put belt to ass on people because they're going to be blocking a lot too. Segue. Offensive line real quick. Garrett Bradbury, he's currently taking first team reps at center. Logan Jones is with the second team. Braxton Jones, he's taking starting left tackle duties with Kyron Amagaji, your boy. He's looking healthy for once in his life, and he's taking second team reps.
Don't sleep on him.
Does that shock you? Revenge of the Nerds.
That doesn't shock me, and it wouldn't shock me if Braxton and Kyron were either benched and or waived at the end of training camp because I think they're going to get first crack, but I don't think anything is written in stone in terms of this being the battle between them two. The guy they signed for the Browns, Jedrick Willis, I think he's still ramping up from his previous injuries. So I think they got a head start on him, but I don't think they're guaranteed. I think Theo is Benedict, the Canadian Eagle. I think he's working. Is he working on the right side as Darnell's backup right now?
I actually haven't heard much about him, the pantsless one. Only thing I've heard is like all three of our tackles, all of our left tackles are career injuries. Like Braxton Jones is always hurt. Kyron Magaji always hurt. Jerry Willis, he's here because he's always hurt.
Exactly.
Concerning to say the least. I think if there is something you keep an eye on as the offseason continues, it's that.
And that's Caleb's blind spot. So I think, as you alluded to last year, maybe that's why we have so much stock in the tight end room. That's why the tight ends are going to be so important. Those guys are going to be helping on the right side. And in one of our ops, and it isn't very comforting at all that Garrett Miles is also in the NFC now and playing on a team that we just lost to in the playoffs.
One of the reasons why Chicago is great is because it sits on the lip of one of the Great Lakes. But I think that's one of the reasons why Cleveland is not great. Their lake is super contaminated. It caught fire, and they've been a mistake by the lake this whole time. And they just keep proving that they just do not need to be a city. They need to be disbanded. Because why would you trade Myles Garrett?
How could you let LeBron leave twice? I'm blaming you. Yes, Cleveland, I blame you for that.
How could you trade for James Harden? You trade for James Harden, then trade away Myles Garrett.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That is the type of that.
You lost arguably the GOAT basketball player twice, and then you lose. You didn't just lose the GOAT edge rusher. You traded him away. Cleveland.
But they're going to re-sign James Harden.
Wow. Go Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland sucks. Let's move on. So I did say the offensive line is one of those things that you do need to pay attention to, but I don't think that's the only thing you need to pay attention to. As we always talked about Rome and his I guess his new normal with his injuries, but there are one of the happy things I did see on the defensive side of the ball was that Jalen Johnson was out there. The fact that he's out there makes me happy. Shout out to him for getting married too. Congrats to him and his wife.
I know he went out.
Ball.
That boy went from he's a sex fiend.
No, not a fiend. Addict.
Man, that poor woman. She is getting pounded into oblivion. Talk about being nailed to the mattress.
He's a godly man, so it's nailed to the cross.
In Jesus' name. Does he say that before he takes her to Pound Town?
Amen.
It's a holy union. So
I don't know if Pound Town was in Jerusalem, but if it was, he's stopping off there quite often. On his other side of Jalen Johnson, you have Tariq Stevenson and Kyler Gordon. Which one do you want to talk about first? Tariq Stevenson? Well, in fact, let's not talk about Tariq Stevenson at all. Let's go right to Kyler Gordon. So Kyler Gordon, he came into the OTAs hurt. Once again, Q, we talked about that on the last episode. Do you want to hear what Ben Johnson had to say about that?
We spoke last year, and neither one of us were really happy with how it went, just from a perspective of being available to get to know each other. I think he only played in 3 games when I look back at it, and so this spring was going to be a springboard for us to get going the right direction, and so we're still working through that. We're still trying to get that availability piece going. And we know he's a good player when he's out there, but trust level is a huge thing for this team, for this coaching staff, for the locker room, and you can only develop that trust by being available.
As you said, Q, what he says is important, and what he doesn't say is even more important. What do you take from that those comments on Kyler Gordon's availability or lack thereof?
Ben is not happy with Kyler Gordon. Kyler sits in that doghouse. And as one of the other guys from the media, and as we said, I think that guy stole this from us. We talked about how important Kyler Gordon was in Dennis Allen's scheme. Another guy, I'm not going to name him from the media, but boy, did he mirror exactly what we said about Kyler Gordon. I mean, that's very telling. And you saw the Bears bring in Cam Lewis. I don't know if you're familiar with him, guy from Buffalo. And I'm not saying he can do the things Kyler Gordon does, but he puts you in a frame of mind of Kyler Gordon in terms of versatility. He's a nickelback who kind of is rugged and can kind of play safety and is good at the line of scrimmage, even though he's smaller. And you got to wonder if they're thinking of possibly life without Kyler Gordon, because they have to, because he's not available. So the idea of Kyler Gordon is great, but you got to be realistic. I don't know how many games he's played in the last 2 years. I want to say maybe 11, 12 out of the 34 possible regular season games and in 2 playoff games, 36. How many times have we seen Kyler on the field? A grand total of 11, 12 times?
Not enough.
Not enough. And then you see Malik Muhammad working in at nickel. So I think, the writing is on the wall. Ben is saying, Kyler, you got to get it together, buddy. You signed a contract extension last year, and you're in year 2 of this thing. Like, one thing about the NFL, what does it stand for?
Not for Long Johns.
Not for Long Johns. And if we go another year with Kyler Gordon having shaky availability, I don't think he'll see the 2027 roster.
That would be crazy. They gave Kyler Gordon the extension. They let Nashawn. They let a bunch of other players walk. Yeah, CJ. They let a bunch of players walk who was on the field, when we needed them last year. And Kyler,
and they played.
Shout out to him. Yeah, they made plays. They may not be as good as Kyler, but you're only as good as your
availability.
Exactly, man. So let's hope Kyler heard what Ben said, took it earnest, and he's gonna. I don't want him to rush back. I want him to cut the crap and get back right. Whatever you're doing that's keeping you hurt, you need to stop that, and let's put a little bit more motion in the ocean of getting healthy. Shout out to Jalen Johnson. Ben Johnson, though, man, if there's anybody else in the on this team right now who's in midseason form, it's him. I love his intensity, man. He's gonna go down he's a Bears legend already, just because he's got that Dicker-like intensity.
Get the damn statue built,
man. From the interview I just played to this,
speaking the same language, and that's always a good starting point. Oh my. Good.
Now that you've got a year under your belt, how does it feel? How do you feel about your position, what you're doing, people you're working?
Somebody want to take their phone, so I'm not interrupted again. Thanks.
Man,
that's my guy.
Get that damn phone out of here. We're talking Bears football. I love it.
He's got Dick. Hey, Dicker was intense, but he's got him beat.
He does. And the thing about him is he's a cerebral intense. Dicker was kind of a meathead of intensity.
Him and Wani. Don't forget Wani.
I love Wani when Wani's not coaching the Bears. I love hearing Wani talk. I love Wani-isms. I just don't want Wani anywhere near my coaching staff.
I know you're not the only one. I'm sure Ricky Williams doesn't want Wani anywhere the coaching staff either.
Man, Jimmy Johnson tried to set Dave Wannstedt up his entire life. You know, he had you on that Cowboy staff, set you up in a good position to get a head coaching job with the Bears. You failed that. Jimmy goes over to Miami, gets the Dolphins as a yearly playoff team, hands it over to Wani. Wani can only keep that up for a year before how long did Wani last the head coach in Miami? 3 years, 4 years?
I think he was there. I want to say about 4.
Yeah.
He had a decent little run there.
He had a decent
about the same
run.
time, about the same amount of time he was with the Bears. Maybe a little shorter.
But Jimmy Johnson laid the groundwork for you. He picked Miami up out the dirt, handed you the keys, said, "Look, Wani, don't F this up." And Wani couldn't keep that train on the tracks that long.
No. It started at the University of Miami. Wannstedt was there with him, and then he brought him to Dallas, like you said.
Oh, damn, he was in Miami too? Damn,
yeah.
Jimmy really he really was holding that boy's hand.
Who put their homies on more? Jimmy Johnson putting on Wannstedt or Jay-Z putting on Memphis Bleak?
Man, that's a tough one because literally Memphis Bleak and Dave Wannstedt are the same people.
Exactly.
They're literally the same people. Man, I don't know. That's a good one.
Well, I'm surprised Memphis Bleak wasn't at the Roots thing with Jay-Z. You know, get him some water.
I really got to sit and think about that. I'm going to say Jimmy. I'm going to say Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's not for lack of effort by Jay-Z, but Jimmy was able to get Wani 2 head coaching jobs. No matter how
3.
hard Jay-Z tried.
I would credit Jimmy for getting Wannstedt the job at Pittsburgh too.
Well, 3. As hard as Jay-Z tried with Memphis Bleak, he couldn't get that man a platinum record. He couldn't.
No.
He could feature. He could do whatever he could write for Memphis. He couldn't get Memphis where Jimmy got Dave. So I'm gonna go. Jimmy put him on more. Although Bleak probably did less and was given more, Jimmy was able to get Wani in a better position than Jay could get Bleak. Not for lack of trying, but Jimmy you see the fruits of Jimmy's labor more than the fruits of Jay-Z.
I would go with that. I'm agreeing with that, but with Ben being as intense as Ben is and being a Chicago legend as is, you already see the fruits of his labor and the fruits of his intensity rubbing off in a good way on the Bears. And him putting boots in people's asses last year, it rubbed off in a good way on the 2027 cover athlete for Madden.
When's the last time you had Madden, when you played Madden? When's the last Madden you had?
I haven't bought a Madden since, I think 2014 may have been the last time, but I'm definitely buying it this year.
Definitely. Are you getting both, the deluxe and the regular edition? I don't think that's necessary. But there's 2 different covers. The deluxe is going to have the Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
The regular one is going to have the MJ. You getting both?
I think I'm going to just get the deluxe. If for no other reason, it's that every time I turn it on, I get to see Caleb stunting on the Packers.
The Bears.
I'm getting it too.
I love that for him.
I actually had Madden in 2023. It wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it, but then I haven't played. My Madden gap is probably longer than yours because before 2023, I hadn't had a Madden since like man, like 2000 and maybe 1 or 2002, somewhere. Yeah.
Damn, that's a long time.
Or you
So
know what?
when you start playing
had
Madden,
it. I might have had it. You know what? I didn't have it, but I played it all the time. Played my
mm-hmm.
homies Madden all the time, and would piss him off with Mike Vick. Mike Vick is one of the greatest Madden players you could have. Man, he would wreck people. It got to the point where I don't know if you and your homies had this, but nobody could pick the Falcons because it was an unfair advantage to have Michael Vick. You had to pick another team.
I used to like playing against Vic because I felt like people didn't really know how to use him. At least the people I played against, they didn't know how to like really unlock him. I used to lock Vic down when he played. What was that, Madden 06? I used to lock him down. Madden
Nickel
05 was my favorite.
Was it a nickel blitz you used to use?
I had 3 plays. I had a contain. I had a nickel contain. I had a nickel blitz, and I had the cover
Stunt?
3 blitz.
Okay.
No, not stunt. It was one of them like really one of the ones where the safety would drop down. It's more like a cover 1.
Oh, the safety drop down the blitz. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would bring everybody up. And it was one of those. It was one of those. So because I know what you want to do with Vic. I know you want to drop back 10, 15 yards.
You want to get
right.
outside.
You want to get outside, and I'm already out. And I'm gonna meet you while you get there. So it was one of them. It was one of them situations. I used to like playing Vic because it was my homework was already half done already. So
yeah, but my homies were predictable with it. So when I did let them get Vic, man, I would run a blitz from either of those nickel positions, and when I guessed right, it was automatic 10-yard sack.
Madden 05 with Ray Lewis on the cover, Madden 06 with Vic on the cover. Those were some glory years. So when you really got out of Madden, the Madden curse was a big thing still. So as we close this up, man, I mean, a lot of people talking about Caleb Williams and the Madden curse. Chicago fans don't generally believe in curses now, do they?
Our generation broke them curses.
Exactly.
I ain't worried about a Madden curse at all. Not with Caleb Williams, not with Ben Johnson. To borrow from Ben Johnson, I'm buying stock on Ben Johnson. I'm buying stock on Caleb Williams. I'm buying stock on Luther Burden. I'm buying stock on the Bears.
Now, I did say Chicago fans don't generally believe in curses. There is a famous curse that Chicago fans definitely bemoan for a good 100+ years. But with that said, we live in a generation where we break curses. Generational curses ain't shit to us. We break them, boy. However, as we started the show talking about this, if the Bears do end up moving across the state lines and it's announced this year, the year that Caleb is jumping over the Chicago skyline, it wouldn't be Caleb that's cursed.
You're right.
It'd be Chicago. That would be a whole new level of cursing.
That would be a whole nother level of curse. Not cursing a player, but cursing a city. Now, you woke. You really are. You one of the Israelites, ain't you?
Get your third eye open, Q.
I see you more. I see you.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Appreciate you tapping into this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Don't matter if you was watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with everybody on the block, and hit the notification bell so you never miss none of our daily drops. And to all the guys from the shy, we say 3 things. Bear down, fly the W, and sell the team, Jerry.